Welcome to Helix Entertainment. I am Richard the Wolf Lewis.
I am Stacy the Tiger Lewis.
Devastation
And justice
is coming. This is the graphic novel series, episode 1. Today's graphic novel is Arrow, volume 1. This is the comic from the show. It's the it's stories, untold stories that they didn't tell in the show. So this is all the untold stories that didn't make it into the show that makes the show what it is. After you read these stories from Arrow, you understand the show a lot more because it fills in some of the gaps. It fills in some of the stuff that you didn't know that you wanted to know that just help with the character development. Some of the stories, are like John Diggle in the military, or how Laurel has to deal with her dad not coming to her mock trial when he said he wanted to come. You know, stories like that. What's another example? The Arrow going after some of the other guys on the list that didn't make the show. Talked about, can't think of her name. The, Huntress. There's a story about the Huntress in here. And how she dealt with her boyfriend. It delved deeper than the show did on how she dealt with her boyfriend getting killed by her dad. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here, and then at the end there's some character art. Some of the alternate
variant
covers or normal covers for the
comic,
for the single issue comics. Some extra images and character stuff that they were planning for the show. So it's a really good read. Now, I say that generically. And we'll get into our thoughts here in a second. But in general, it is a good read. On its own. Now we're going to try and discuss, does it fit for the title, character, Arrow? Does it fit that? Does it fit in the universe that has been established by that set of comics or that character in DC? Does it fit this whole mantra of characters? Should it be before or after, or is it in the right spot? Should it have been a one-off storyline or a black label? which pretty much, I believe it kind of is a Black Label. It never states that it is because it's from the show. So it's out of the main continuity of the comics and in the show continuity. So, you know, they don't really have to say Black Label. Just like the next one we're going to do. But I thought it was a good read. It gave us some more information, like I said, on some of the backstories on some of these characters and some other stuff that happened that wasn't in the show. And that was really cool. I thought that was intuitive. I think that's a great idea. Especially with how the show was. This was great. What do you think?
It was a really good read. I didn't mind finding out more about Diggle and how he got to meet Arrow.
How he became to go to Star City.
Yep, and help his friend out.
And a little bit more about his military past. Which
Yep.
that was really cool. And then Laurel, about her past when she was in school.
Yep.
That was really cool too. So now the key is, does it fit in the line of comics for the title character Arrow? Yes, I believe it does. It's within the first season. It's early enough that none of these stories would, as far as we've read for this, without reading volume 2 because we don't have volume 2 yet.
Yeah. We still need to find volume 2. So if anybody has it and they're willing to sell it or send it to us, please let us know.
As far as we know, it does link up to the TV show quite nicely, and it leads it to the next one. It leads it to the next one as this is a continuation of the show. So this is taking where the show leaves off. It fills in some of the gaps so far, and then the next one's gonna do more down the line.
Yep.
And that's really cool. So on that aspect, it does. But we do understand that this isn't just a normal comic book with a comic book title like Green Arrow or Black Canary, Red Hood, Harley Quinn. So we can't base it off of that type of stuff. Does it fit their timeline? Does it fit who they are at that time? Or should it be later or whatever? This we have to go off of the show. And that's kind of hard. But it does fit, and I think all of them are going to. But it's just, it's a hard one. So, do you think it fits with the show? Because that's our only basis.
Yeah. I think it does, from what I remember of the show.
To me, it didn't do anything that shows one later seasons, or two, it didn't show. It showed stuff for a volume 1, for a first issue, or first collective issue.
Well, even on the back, like it says, the television episodes are only half the story. Dive deeper into the CW series with more than a dozen never-before-seen villains from the world of Arrow.
But to me, it didn't like skip over a lot of. It didn't go and let the show go so much, and then here's an untold story, and here's an untold story down the road. To me, it felt like it was more show, untold story, show. You know, it had that dynamic of going with the flow of the season, of the series. And it didn't seem out of place.
No, it didn't.
It really, really didn't. And I'm really happy about that. Because for our first graphic novel, on the graphic novel series, it gets us to have the ability to read something that actually really does go with the flow, so we can see, okay, this is what the flow should probably look like. Something that is within continuity, it's in where it should be. We don't have that much to really say about it. That's bad.
No.
I'm looking forward to number 2. I know there's a season 2.0, I think, or a 2.5 version of the comics too, and that should be cool. But with this, it's a good start for us into the world of comics, especially since we really did love the show, and we really did appreciate it for what it is. We understood it wasn't a true Green Arrow story. A lot of the stories were more Batman inspired stories, like he was a stand-in for Batman because they couldn't use Batman, and Flash was a stand-in for Superman and then Batwoman was a stand-in for Wonder Woman and Stargirl and the Legends. The Legends were technically created during the life of the CW shows, because they thought that having a group of villains and heroes of B-list characters come together would be a good idea. And it was. Don't get me wrong. But to start it all off, this was great. And I love it for what it is. So, the next graphic novel we're gonna go ahead and read is Earth Prime, DC's television superhero epic crossover. Batman, Superman and Lois, Stargirl, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. It says Heroes Twilight, but when I flip through it, only thing about Heroes Twilight is it links up with Flash. So I think it's more, Heroes Twilight is more about about Flash's kids. And it's supposed to answer some of the questions on where the show left off and what happens to them, and give them a final end for their series, where the shows never gave them an ending. This is supposed to give them their ending. This is supposed to give them their season finale. And it looked pretty good. On the back, springing out of the hit CW shows, Earth Prime continues the adventures of your favorite heroes from the small screen, highlighting Batwoman, Superman and Lois, The Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Impulse, and XS. Each story tells a standalone adventure set in continuity in the background, out to finally bring those heroes to their knees. Magog is here, and no hero is safe. So it's supposed to give us the closure that we all wanted in the series, where they should have had an ending, except for Superman and Lois, that did get to end their series right. But with the Legends, Batwoman, and Stargirl, we didn't. Flash and Superman and Lois did. So those are the only two, but it tells some of the untold stories for them. Like I read, where it's Impulse and XS for Flash. A continued story about them, because in the end of the series, we didn't get a lot of an explanation with them. And then some more interesting stories for Superman and Lois. So it looks like a good read. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like a good read.
I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good continuation before we get into Injustice. And really start getting into the comics for the graphic novel stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. I like talking about the graphic novels that we read and giving our opinions on it. I think Arrow is a solid 9 out of 10. Only because it didn't have some early things from the beginning of the series. Like, I thought it could have dealt with a story from very early and from episode 1, you know. Before, let's look at a little. I know it did tell us a story about how Oliver was before he got stranded on the island and all that. But I was thinking, okay, how was he as a young kid? How did he grow up with Tommy and Laurel? How did that dynamic spring out of them all knowing each other in Star City, or at the time Starling City? And it could have used one more story before before he was stranded on the island. But I give it a solid 9 out of 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
So 2 9 out of 10s. 10 is going to be very hard to come by. It'll have to blow us away. The story will have to be really good, especially when we get into the comics, and not just the TV series. So we are very happy that you guys are sticking with us and watching our content. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Until next time, we are the Wolf Pack. Or until next time, you have failed this city. We are the Wolf Pack. Devastation
And justice
is coming. Until next time, thank you for everything, and have a pleasant day.